I think it is important for you to know that we don't compete. We get together and commiserate about this wonderful economy and the challenges we all have. In Bill Henson's email about the agenda, he told us to speak about our city, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, when I got that, I thought, that's nice. And it's been an interesting week. As I told one of the staff the other day, I think the stars were crossed to something. We had a council meeting on Monday night that had one public hearing. It lasted 2 hours. We never do that in that length of time. Usually it's pretty organized and we zip on through. And then we had a committee meeting yesterday that we were talking about the incentive policy. And that became very contentious with a community group. So, and interestingly enough, both the issues concern development. So this is all related to vision, as you all understand it. And I think vision's kind of like beauty. It's in the eye of the beholder, which means everybody's got a different vision. And you start putting them together, and it can be, I think, kind of like making sausage. When it comes to public policy, it's got a lot of stuff in it and get kind of messy at times, so it just takes a while to get there. But I was reminded of the time that I was in the beauty shop, and for you guys, you won't understand this, but anything that's said in beauty shops is kind of like Vegas. It stays there. So this person asked me, he said, well, tell me, what does a city council member do? And it had been a week, kind of like the first 2 days this week has been. I said, well, basically, we just piss people off. So that's kind of where it is. I had the privilege of serving as mayor from 92 to 99, and little did I realize how easy it was to be in public office when the economy was good. Our tax base was growing. We had industrial, residential, and commercial, all in a real good balance, and that's very necessary for local government because, as you all know, as much as we love those wonderful homes, those folks take a lot of service, and we have spoiled them to death. And so they don't like changing any level of that service, which we have had to do. We've indeed had population growth in the past 10 years. We've topped 104,000, and many of you who haven't been to High Point, we're the ultimate suburbia. We just kind of spread out all everywhere. But back in the early 90s and even in the 80s, we knew that we needed diversification. Particularly in our industrial sector. And we got that. While manufacturing was declining, we had other business sectors that were growing and expanding, like pharmaceuticals and distribution facilities, healthcare services. All of those things have grown. In fact, our largest employers today in the top 10 are Bank of America, which is a customer service center out at Piedmont Center. High Point Regional Health System has grown tremendously. In fact, was recognized this past year as one of the top 50 hospitals in the nation in terms of cardiac care. And that means they have people that don't die as often as in other places. Nita Quabain says if you're going to have a heart attack, have it in High Point. So I pass that along as a tip. Thomasville Bus also is a large employer, has been for years. One of our family-owned companies that was bought out and now is owned by Daimler Chrysler. Ralph Lauren is there. This year announced the 3rd operation that they will operate in High Point. Tyco Electronics is a big employer. Aetna Insurance Customer Service is a large employer. Cornerstone Healthcare, which is, I guess, just part of the evolution of the healthcare industry, all the combinations, and you know, everybody's lining up behind a couple of chiefs. And then High Point University, which if you don't know how that's grown, it's because you're deaf, dumb, and blind, because they have certainly advertised it. And it's been a fantastic boon for the city, and certainly something of which we're very proud. It has provided many jobs, particularly for the construction industry, and also for all the ancillary services that go with that. And it's, of course, none of it is on the tax rolls, but they do attract a good number of students who do like to spend money, and so we're kind of glad of that. The Guilford County Schools and in the city round out the top 10 in terms of number of employees, the largest employers. Our largest taxpayers, however, are different, and you would probably expect that. Showrooms do dominate that. The International Home Furnishing Center, which is referred to as the big building, the one with it's the ugliest building in the world. So it's that building. We do also have MMPI, which is a reclaimed furniture manufacturing company that was converted into showrooms, a historic property, and it has morphed into 4 other buildings. Liberty Property Trust is one of our biggest taxpayers. Then we have another showroom called Showplace. Interestingly enough, 3 of these different properties have come under one ownership in the past month. It is a game changer in terms of, you know, what's going to emerge, but we do believe that anybody that's got $1 billion to put in real estate at this point in time is not exactly going to try to write it off. So we do think that there's opportunity here, particularly in an industry that's changing as much as the furniture industry is. We also have seen significant growth in furniture distribution sector, and I think this underlies the importance of the market as an entity in itself, and that the industry has recognized that. And we're also seeing some rise in furniture manufacturing. Most of it is niche manufacturing, and a great deal of it's high-end. So all told, through the wretched economic turndown we've experienced, we continue to see new investment and job creation. However, when you look at the permit value of new investment over the 10-year period, the ugly and the bad that Bill suggested I include does emerge, and you all know all about this. I don't know whether it's worse just to hear the real numbers or just kind of vaguely know things aren't too good. But the real numbers, and this is total permit value for commercial, both new additions and expansions in residential. In 2000, we had $313.7 million in permit value permitted in 1 year. 2005, it was $337.6 million. 2010, $109.7. Now, that's almost $1 billion over 10 years. But nonetheless, there's certainly been a dramatic drop, as you all have experienced as well. But it does look like we're on track to show an increase this year. So if we can top the 109.7, we are able to say we're on the way back up. And I think we're all interested in being able to do that. We also track job losses as well as jobs created. And in that data, 4 out of the 10 years, we gained more jobs than we lost. And Bill mentioned a while ago how many jobs the region had lost. And the fact that we lost more in 4 years, but in 2010, we gained 2,256 jobs and lost 703. Now that's roughly a 10,000 gain over 10 years. But I tell you what, it's not enough, and we all know it. And I'm ready to go back to the 400 million plus years of the 90s, and I'm sure you all too. But I'm optimistic about our future. From a city perspective, with the support of voters, we've done a lot of keeping the house up to date. We've made significant investments in infrastructure. Mayor Knight mentioned a while ago the Jordan Lake rules. Part of their challenge is upgrading your wastewater treatment plant to meet those rules. We ran into that when we upgraded our east side plant back in the 90s. But what was coming along then was Randleman. We started out with an estimated cost to upgrade that facility at $32 million. It was an expansion and an upgrade. But the major cost came in because of how we had to treat the water to make sure that one little part of the deep river down there didn't kill the bugs that were in it. Some crawfish, turtles, whatever they were. It ended up costing us $72 million to upgrade that plant. And our sewer rates are showing that now. But it is upgraded, and our other plant is online for upgrade as well, and it's not as large and won't cost as much. We've upgraded our water system as well, and our stormwater system has been a particular concern, and most cities do have that problem. Those that have had growth, because we are, you know, the dirt up here is not worth a hoot, and so anything that runs down, it's going to just, comes down, it's going to run off, and you do get a lot of erosion. So we do have a few challenges about channeling that stormwater and putting it in the right place. We have a landfill that will last us 20 years, and hopefully by then this region will have progressed to the point that there will be a public-private partnership that will incinerate solid waste. We cannot keep burying garbage, not even if we do it in somebody else's backyard. At some point, we gotta burn it. And there is technology to do that, and it will improve. It just costs a whole lot of money. We've extended our water and sewer system into our service area, which is part of our growth. We go up now all the way to 40. We have an annexation agreement with the town of Kernersville and have actually extended water through the triangle, which you all are familiar. We've extended sewer, and they've got water from Forsyth up to the FedEx ground hub, because that's part of the drainage basin that feeds back into one of our wastewater plants. It's the cheapest way to do it. Pump stations are a horror and a nightmare, and so we've tried to just take advantage of what is logical to service, and it's what is cheaper in the long run. We've got some of the, we have some good growth agreements with surrounding communities. We touch Greensboro in many places, and to our east and to our south as well. We have tremendous facilities for recreation, particularly for youth sports. An expanded library, a tremendous public-private partnership that has reduced violent crime significantly and has resulted in a lower crime rate. We do need some additional transportation improvements, but in time they will come. The bottom line is we've kept our public house in order, and High Point's a good place to live, work, and play. And I would add invest. So bring us your business. We're ready for you. And we're lucky because we live near Greensboro and Winston, and we can take advantage of many of the amenities in those larger urban areas. We like their coliseums, and we don't want one. We just as soon go to theirs, and we're happy to support it. I agree with Mayor Knight. We are a region, from anybody who looks at us from the outside, and we do view ourselves individually. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but there has to be recognition that this economy is interdependent. When one of us does well, we're all doing better. And when all of us do well, we're even doing better than that. So those of us who do believe that need to promote ourselves that way. And I think we'll all have a happier future, and certainly a more prosperous future because of it. The PTP initiatives that Mayor Knight mentioned, perhaps we can get into a little later, but I think we need to let Mayor Joines tell us the wondrous things about Winston.